tackle the football. Say it again this week. Heaven knows they're saying it on the South Side. Again, and again. And it's the right thing to say. But it just might not mean all that much. Good morning to you. Good Friday morning. I'm Dejan Kovacevic of DK Pittsburgh Sports. This is Daily Shot of Steelers. It comes your way bright and early every weekday. If you're into hockey and or baseball, I also offer daily shots of Penguins and Pirates. Steelers versus Patriots comes with a 1:02 p.m. kickoff Sunday in Foxborough, Massachusetts. And it has an ominous opportunity to extend an awful trend. And let's call it what it is. Let's stop talking about how did this happen against the Jets? How did this happen against the Seahawks? I'm going to throw some data at you here you're not going to like. But it's now been 10 games in a row. 10. Counting last season, and yes, of course, counting the Baltimore playoff debacle, that the Steelers have allowed at least 300 yards of offense to the opponent. Worse, within those 10 games, the actual average that they've allowed is 362 yards per game. So when we're talking about the Jets coming close to 400, the Seahawks coming close to 400, we probably ought to stop talking about that as if it's stunning. This is who they've been for the better part of the equivalent of an NFL season. And really, if you rewind to that part of last season where things really started to go south, when the team was 10-3, the defense was still good. The defense was still top 10. It was top 5 against the run, if you can believe it. The wheels began to get rattled a little bit with that loss in Philadelphia, and then they just came off after that. And they've yet to be put back on. Listen, I can go after coaching and schemes and Mike Tomlin and Terrell Austin, positional guys, and I'm sure there's a lot of people, myself included, possibly, who can find comfort in that because you can just wag a finger and say, listen, there's some really big names that Omar Khan and Andy Weidel and Tomlin have added to this defense. So why aren't they performing the way they're supposed to or anywhere close to it? The 3 biggest of those names on the defensive side, undoubtedly, TJ Watt, Cam Hayward, Jalen Ramsey. Can we agree on that? Or at least come close to agreeing on that? Okay, let's do this. TJ, in his last 6 games, and again, I'm including the Baltimore playoff game, has no sacks and 2 quarterback hits. Here again, we can complain about how he isn't moved around and how opponents are running away from him, and we can be fair and accurate in saying that, while at the same time acknowledging that there's never really been a stretch like this for TJ ever. One more time, 6 games, no sacks, 2 quarterback hits. Cam, in his last 7 games, including that playoff, no sacks, 5.5 run stuffs, no forced fumbles, no fumble recoveries, 5 passes defensed, 3 of those coming in one game against the Bengals at the end of the regular season. Now, Ramsey deserves to be in his own category, I feel, because one, he wasn't here last year, so it's not like he'd have some trend that would extend in the Steelers context. And also because he has generated significant splash in these first 2 games he's been here. Had the 2 huge stops/hits to end the game in East Rutherford. Had the pick last week. But there's also this. The Seahawks entered Acrisure Stadium with a plan to attack Ramsey. So whatever it was that Tomlin had in mind about Ramsey and this, we're going to put him on your best guy as if that was supposed to be some sort of intimidating thing, and you're going to stay away from him and we're going to shrink the field. No, that isn't happening. It didn't happen as it related to routine coverage against the Jets, and it sure didn't happen when Sam Darnold and the Seahawks targeted Ramsey 11 times in that game this past Sunday, beating him for 9 catches, a total of 128 yards, and an unbelievable average of 14.2 yards allowed per attempt. Not per completion, but per attempt. Going at Ramsey earned you, the Seattle offense, 14.2 yards per attempt. So, yes, I believe strongly that the coaching, that the schematics can be a lot smarter than they've been. I also believe that this team would benefit immensely from a return to basics, something that Cam brought up himself yesterday at the facility.
I think it's about just us getting back to, tackling well, getting off blocks, setting the edge, coming downhill, and then we can focus on getting after the passer. But until we stop the run early, we're not going to have a chance in that regard.
But let's not kid ourselves here. This defense was built on these names. And these names had their reputation built on performance that's well above anything we've witnessed for a while now. When we come back, J1Q. Luxembourg, Garbett, Kelly & George is a personal injury law firm in Western Pennsylvania that represents injured people in automobile accidents, workers' compensation cases, and medical malpractice claims. The attorneys at Luxembourg, Garbett, Kelly & George pride themselves in doing what they say they're going to do. It's important to them that when they make you a promise, they keep that promise. And this law firm has been keeping promises for over 80 years. Luxembourg, Garbett, Kelly & George has been AV rated. That's the highest rating a law firm can receive for legal ability and ethics. And the lawyers at the firm have been designated super lawyers, that's a real thing, for over 15 years. Rare combination there. Luxembourg, Garbett, Kelly & George has offices in Cranberry, Newcastle, Beaver Falls, Butler, and Elwood City. Learn more about them at lgkg.com or by calling 888-842-5454. Again, that's 888-842-5454. Football season's finally here. Time to check out the latest odds, futures, and win totals on the FanDuel Sportsbook. Think the Steelers are headed to the Super Bowl? Lock in your bets today. Whatever your game, FanDuel Sportsbook delivers the latest lines, futures, and specials so you can join in on all the action. Hey guys, if you're planning to see a Steelers game, use the Game Time app to get your tickets. You can snag new ticket deals before anyone if you set it into your app alerts. The app is easy to use. No surprise fees at checkout. You can see your seat view before buying, and you're getting legit tickets delivered on time. If you're not much of a planner, you can get last-minute deals on tickets right up to the start of the event. Lowest price guaranteed, or Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. Download the Game Time app and enter the code DK Steelers into your app profile to get $20 off your first purchase. Today's J1Q comes from Art Miller, a theater arts director, who asks, DK, as an educator, it's always important to see the potential that each student brings, but also as they're developing to make adaptations to ensure they're still growing even when times might get tough. Do you believe that there are some current positional coaches within the Steelers who are just simply not great teachers? Art, I think that's possible, but as you might have gathered from the opening segment today, my mind frame is beginning to migrate more in the direction of the athletes. Now, I'm not a believer in singular or isolated blame when it comes to team sports. If you're playing really well, if you're winning a lot, chances are there are a ton of things going right for you. That includes your athlete's performance. That includes your coaches and your instruction, your discipline, your culture, the way you've built the roster, everything goes into it. It's not about, it's this, as much as people in general love to do that. Not you. You didn't do that. I'm just making a point here. So I get what they're saying. And I also get, and I probably should have brought this up at least parenthetically in the opening segment, that they're missing some guys. They're missing some important guys. That's real. That's not an excuse. That's not imaginary. But I also look out there and see that their best players are still participating and they're not getting their own results. And I can't be completely convinced that they are just magically finding ways to either avoid all three or that all three are excelling in the face of the rest of these guys getting abused. There's no way that's the case. No way. TJ needs to be TJ again at some point. Cam needs to be Cam again. Jalen Ramsey needs to be a lot more of what we've seen with the splash and a lot less of what we've seen him getting picked on as if he's a rookie. And here, too, I don't mean to leave others out. The inside linebackers, all of them, Patrick Queen, Peyton Wilson, and now, hopefully, finally, Cole Holcomb will get onto the field. They need to start hitting these gaps with the same fire and confidence that the opposing running backs appear to be doing. Keanu Benton needs to figure out why it is that he's constantly regressing or he needs to get replaced. Darius Slay had incredible coverage figures with Philadelphia last season. He doesn't have them with the Steelers this season. Juan Thornhill needs to be way sharper by every accounting, including his own, when it comes to communication in the back end. That stupid crisscross play can't result in yet another touchdown this weekend. That's on Thornhill to figure out. That's on Thornhill to activate. The one thing we can take to the bank is that this season goes nowhere unless this defense isn't just average, which they're nowhere near. It isn't just good or very good. This defense needs to be what everybody, almost everybody, thought it was going to be as it was being assembled. We can talk about the offense all day and how this went wrong and that went wrong and can't run the ball, can't block. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Everything about this season has been predicated from the start on this defense being exceptional. Or, historic. I'm going to presume that didn't mean that they'd be looking like their history. I appreciate the question, Art. I appreciate everybody listening to Daily Shot of Steelers. And hey, make sure you download the DK Pittsburgh Sports app before this weekend. You're going to want it for the kind of coverage that we offer live from the road, from the stadium, from the locker room. It's unlike anything that's offered anywhere else. And if you want the good version of it, I'll just call it what it is. After you download the app into your device, shoot me an email, dk@dkpittsburghsports.com. I'll answer you personally with a massive discount because, just being honest here, I'd much rather have you using the good version. It reflects better on all of us. dk@dkpittsburghsports.com. Don't forget Double Shot today, 4 p.m. Eastern.